The Robert E. Dobbs Distinguished Service Award recognizes dedicated alumnus who, through their deep commitment and visionary service, elevates his or her alma mater and the UC community. The award recalls the memory and passion of my friend Bob Dobbs, a two-time UC graduate, past president of the UC Alumni Association, past trustee of the UC Foundation, a fellow co-chair with my wife and I of the UC Bicentennial, and a fiercely loyal Bearcat whose leadership truly transformed our alma mater. Our honoree tonight exemplifies what Bob and this award stand for. Tom Cassady chaired the UC Board of Trustees in 2018 and 2019, concluding a board term that began in 2010. His tenure as a trustee and chair was a period of enormous growth and achievement for our university. During his tenure, he led the presidential search that appointed Dr. Neville Pinto as UC's 30th president, a decision that set the course for Next Lives Here, UC's strategic direction, ushering in a new era of innovation and impact for urban public universities. Tom was a passionate champion for growth and oversaw a continued rise in enrollment, reaching nearly 46,000 by the end of his term. Emphasizing access, affordability, and accountability, the board froze tuition costs for students and their families for 5 years in a row during his tenure. We're continuing to reap the benefits as enrollment keeps climbing, now to 53,000. His tenure saw the launch or opening of various campus construction projects, including Kowaleski Hall, home to the College of Pharmacy, Marion Spencer Residence Hall, the Gardner Neuroscience Institute, the Health Sciences Building, the new Carl H. Lindner College of Business, and significant renovations to Fifth Third Arena. UC also opened its 1819 Innovation Hub and solidified plans for the Digital Futures Building. When his term as chair concluded, rather than fading into the sunset like most of us do, Tom took on a new and considerable challenge as chair of the UC Health Board of Directors during a critical time from 2021 to 2025, and he remains an at-large director today. During that time, UC Health completed expansion of its emergency department, created the nation's first flex ICU, and opened the University of Cincinnati Cancer Center's Blood Cancer Healing Center, the most comprehensive facility of its kind in the country. I had the good fortune to work closely with Tom as a trustee during his tenure as UC board chair, and it continued during his time as chair at UC Health while I served as the UC board chair. We collaborated closely on some very complex and critically important issues. He was a great partner, and I admired his leadership, integrity, tireless effort, and unwavering commitment to the best interests of our university. I can attest to the extraordinary and often unsung impact that he has had on both UC and UC Health. Like so many of his Bearcat peers, Tom cites his experience in Greek life as a key to his success. He has proudly served his fraternity, Beta Theta Pi, since his undergraduate years, receiving numerous UC and national awards for his contributions as a dedicated advisor and highly engaged alumnus. He's been a great supporter of many UC causes, notably his College of Arts and Sciences, UC Athletics, and the Gen 1 House for first-generation students. In 2018, he and his wife created the Thomas D. and Karen H. Cassady First Generation Scholarship. On behalf of the UC Alumni Association, I am pleased and honored to present the Robert E. Dobbs Distinguished Service Award to a great Bearcat, Tom Cassady.
William Shakespeare said there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It reminds us that attitude is not something we inherit. It is something we choose. How we think shapes how we lead, how we serve, and how we respond when things are hard. Pope Francis expressed it this way: the first step is to start with courage. Courage leads to joy, and joy leads to hope. That progression, courage to joy to hope, has stayed with me. Because hope is not passive. It doesn't emerge from comfort. Hope begins when people choose to act with courage on behalf of institutions and communities they care deeply about. Hope for an institution, hope for a healthcare system, and hope for a city whose future is inseparable from both. Receiving the Robert E. Dobbs Service Award is deeply humbling. Bob and Kim Dobbs represent the very best of civic service, quiet stewardship, long-term thinking, and a belief that institutions matter because people matter. To be associated with that legacy at the University of Cincinnati is a true honor. Please recognize Kim Dobbs here tonight. Right here. If there is one theme that has guided my service, it is this: UC matters. Not just as a university, but as a force for opportunity, mobility, and community transformation. I've seen that impact most clearly through our students. UC's commitment to first-generation students is one of the most hopeful expressions of who we are. When this university chose to invest in a learning, living community designed specifically for students whose families had never navigated higher education, it wasn't just a program, it was a statement. And the results, measured in graduation, confidence, and life trajectory, prove that intentional investment changes lives and changes families. That is what hope looks like when it is put to work. Hope also requires discipline. Public higher education has faced relentless pressures over the last 2 decades: declining state support, rising costs, and the easy temptation to shift the burden onto students and families. UC chose a harder path, freezing tuition repeatedly, demanding efficiencies, asking uncomfortable questions about cost and value. These were not easy decisions. They were hopeful ones. Because hope, when taken seriously, becomes accountability. My hope for the University of Cincinnati is that it never loses sight of access and affordability as moral commitments, not slogans. Education remains one of the most powerful engines of social mobility we have. If we allow it to become inaccessible, we weaken not only our institutions, but our democracy. That hope is strengthened by leadership. I want to specifically recognize President Neville Pinto, whose effectiveness is rooted in his long-term commitment to this university and his willingness to truly own the responsibilities of leadership. Neville models discipline, work ethic, and strategic clarity. He understands that culture is not shaped by speeches, but by consistency. My hope for UC is that it continues to benefit from leaders who are willing to stay the course, make hard decisions, and trust the community that they serve. That same sense of hope and realism must extend to UC Health. UC Health is not just a clinical enterprise, it is a critical part of our academic mission, our research engine, and our regional safety net. Today, academic health systems across the country are facing extraordinary economic pressure. Changes in Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, rising labor and supply costs, and increasing demand for care, especially from our most vulnerable populations, have created real financial strain. These challenges are complex, structural, and largely outside of the control of any single institution, and yet hope matters here more than ever. I want to recognize Corey Shaw, our president and CEO of UC Health, whose leadership during this period reflects courage, transparency, and resolve. Leading a healthcare system through economic uncertainty while preserving clinical excellence, research integrity, and academic mission is not easy work. It requires balance, alignment, and trust. My hope is that UC and UC Health continue to move forward together, more aligned, more collaborative, and more unified in purpose, because the strength of one is inseparable from the strength of the other. Hope also extends beyond our campus. UC is an urban university, and that identity carries responsibility. Our relationship with the city of Cincinnati is not optional, it's foundational. Strong partnerships with public schools, neighborhoods, civic leaders, and businesses are not acts of charity, they are acts of shared investment. When Cincinnati thrives, UC thrives. When UC leads, Cincinnati benefits. Hope for this city means rejecting complacency. It means embracing diversity as a strength, not a talking point. It means understanding that intellectual and civic growth require engagement with people who do not look like us, think like us, or share our assumptions. Hope also requires good governance, the quiet, disciplined work of stewardship. Boards and leaders serve institutions best when they focus on strategy, fiduciary responsibility, and leadership development, and resist the temptation to drift into operations. Institutions weaken when governance loses its lane. My hope is that UC continues to model governance that is principled, restrained, and focused on the long term. I have one concern as I reflect on my service, and it is the pace of change. Universities are designed to endure, but endurance should never come as an excuse for inertia. The greatest risks often emerge during periods of success, when urgency fades and comfort sets in. Hope demands motion. Leaders must agitate change for progress, welcome debate, and act with intention. Finally, hope is personal. I am deeply grateful to the students and faculty who give this institution its soul, to the administrators and staff who do the hard work every day, to colleagues who believe that service is not a resume line, but a responsibility, and to my family, especially my wife, Karen, who shared the sacrifices that service requires and never once asked for recognition. So tonight, I accept this award not as a capstone, but as a reminder that thinking makes things so, that hope is a choice, and that the future of the University of Cincinnati, UC Health, and the city of Cincinnati is worth choosing again and again. Thank you very much.